A reader recently asked me how to start coping with life and growing forward with curiosity and confidence when you feel dead, empty, or emotionally numb inside. And I thought the best place to talk about this is walking down a street in Deep Cove. It may give you a different perspective and maybe even lift you up in ways you didn't expect. So when you feel nothing, and all you can think is, I feel dead inside, you start to believe that you will never feel alive or happy again. There are two really important things to remember before I give you a few ideas for coping with life when you feel emotionally numb. I really want to encourage you to remember two things. Number one, this too shall pass. You won't always feel emotionally numb, dead, or empty inside. These feelings will flow through you and you will come out on the other side. Number two, remember that you have more power than you think. And I'll talk about this more in a couple of minutes, but right now I just want to plant the seed and help you remember that you actually have more control and more agency over your life than you might think. There are no easy hacks, quick tips, or magic tricks that will change how you feel. But my experience and a few practical ideas will encourage you and help remind you that no matter how dead you feel inside, there is hope on the other side of this. I was inspired to write this article because of a reader's comment. She said, I feel like I'm a dead soul on the inside. I met my boyfriend at work and I felt like my life was complete because he was always there for me. Day in and day out, I felt like I needed him more and more than he would ever need me. Now, after we broke up, he's marrying someone else, someone his mom chose for him. I feel completely dead and empty inside. I am devastated. I feel nothing. I have no idea how I'm going to start my life over. I don't know how to be happy and come alive again. So she wrote this on one of my blog posts on how love blossoms. And maybe you understand how she feels. Maybe you too feel emotionally numb and dead inside because you lost someone you love, someone broke up with you, or someone that you really care about is moving on with their life in some way. So here are 4 ways to come alive. Number 1, do some detective work. When did your feelings of internal emptiness start to arise in you? For me, it was when my grandma died. After her death, I truly felt like I was dead inside. I thought I was going to die when I was told that she had died, and I really felt emotionally nothing inside. Empty, numb, totally dead. I felt exhausted and overwhelmed as well, and all I could do is sleep. I crawled under the covers for over a week, and I just hid in my bed. I slept for days. When I was finally ready to go back to work, all I could do was sit there and stare out the window. I couldn't even work. And that's when I learned that grief sometimes feels like being dead inside. Emptiness or numbness is heartache that is stuck in our hearts and our souls and our spirits. These difficult emotions, such as guilt, anger, shame, and regret, can be destructive, especially if they aren't experienced, untangled, and sort of worked through. So look back at your own recent past or even a farther back history. Was it an external event that made you feel empty or dead inside? Or did the emptiness sort of creep on gradually? Thinking about this might be able to help you find solutions and ways to come alive again. It may be a physical issue that you're dealing with, such as a chemical imbalance, or it could be an emotional trigger that has somehow cropped up in your life and you're dealing with something that you didn't expect to have to deal with again. Or it could even be spiritual. And if you can find the possible cause, you're a little bit closer to finding a possible solution. The second tip is to bring your story out into the light. Because the more that you hide it, or if you feel ashamed or guilty about something that happened in your past, the worse you'll feel. So, have you talked or written about something that happened to you? Maybe you need to forgive yourself for making a mistake, or maybe you need to work through some guilt for something that you did or allowed to happen in the past. If you're holding your pain and your mistakes inside, it will destroy your soul, and that will lead to even deeper feelings of emptiness. My third tip is to align with the feelings that you have right now. So after my grandma died, I didn't do anything to try to heal or grieve or move forward. I just let myself sleep. I let myself feel dead and numb inside for as long as I needed to. And it did pass. I did find that I was able to move forward and move on naturally. My grief and my pain did lighten, and it became what it is today, which is sort of wisps and shadows of sadness that come in every once in a while. They don't stay in me like they used to when she first died. They sort of blow through me, and I'm able to see life and people with more love and compassion because I experienced that terrible bout of emptiness and emotional numbness. The fourth tip is to question your thoughts. So Byron Katie, in a book called Loving What Is, said, "It's easy to be swept away by some overwhelming feeling. So it's helpful to remember that any stressful feeling is like a compassionate alarm clock that says you're caught in the dream." Depression, pain, and fear are gifts that say, "Sweetheart, take a look at your thinking right now. You're living in a story that isn't true for you." So think about the thoughts that you're thinking. When you feel like you're dead inside or emotionally numb, just pay attention to what you were thinking and doing and feeling right before that came on. That may give you another hint about how to cope with these feelings. For instance, if you go on Facebook and you feel alone, sad, and depressed, and even more emotionally numb than you did before, then maybe there's something about Facebook that is causing these feelings of anxiety and isolation. That's how it is for me. I find that before I go on Facebook, I have to gear myself up to know that I'm going to feel bad after. And I don't know why. I think it's because I see all my friends and family having this great life, and I'm just sitting here all by myself. So if I know this going in, then it's much easier to just enjoy Facebook and then shut it down and move on as if I'd never been there. The most important thing to remember is that this too shall pass. If you try different ways to move on and grow forward, you won't always feel this way. So try something. Just try one or two things for the next week or so and see how it feels. And always take good care of yourself, because you are worth taking good care of. Mwah!